And let me tell you a story about a man named Atul.
Hey guys, welcome back. Great news for you. The Big B is doing a book review today for you on Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. Be sure to listen. It's got some great information about aging. I mean, you know, we all need that. See you around.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, The Big B and Little T. Yes, I am the Big B, the one that doesn't shoot very many videos, and that's why the Little T has asked me to shoot this week's video because she said you haven't been seen in a while, which is just fine with me. But she said, how about talking about a book, which I rebelled against. I do love to read books, and I read quite a few books, probably probably about one a week, somewhere like that, which isn't a whole lot. But most of the books I read are fiction, and they are lawyerly, detective-like. I don't feel compelled to share those books with people. They're just fun reading, not a lot of thinking up there. But occasionally, I will read a real thinking book. And this is one that I'm going to talk about real briefly today. And it's one that I have actually read at least 4 times. So I'm either a slow learner or it just speaks to me. But the book is called Being Mortal, Medicine and What Matters in the End. It's by Dr. Atul Gawande. The book's been around for quite some time. I've probably, as I said, read it 4 times, probably in the last 15 years. I think Tina introduced it to me. And each time I've read it, there's something that speaks to me differently, and that's all because you're at different points in your life. Tina and I actually shared this book with our moms as they aged. I'm not 100% certain that they read them, but we tried. And we also want to encourage our children to read the book, so we're all generally on the same page. Now, I'm not gonna do a total review of the book. The book is awesome. Lots of personal examples of the doctor, his patients, other patients, things that he's learned, things that he's had to change, things that he wished he could have changed as a doctor, and how he interacted with his patients. It also goes into nursing homes and assisted living and how that process has happened. Probably most poignantly, he speaks about the death of his dad and the process that they went through there as he aged and as his health and body began to deteriorate. I highly recommend the book. So I'm going to tell you just briefly how it speaks to me. I'll be oversimplified, but just read it at any point in your life. You can read it in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. You're going to get something out of it. The gist of it to me has helped me process as I've aged how, if given a choice, how I want or what I need to think about as I move through this process of aging. And we can't avoid it, but the body deteriorating or arthritis all the way to cancer or whatever it may be. So this is, again, a book about that process, not so much about sudden death as much as it is about death where we or our loved ones would have some choices in that process. So to give you an example, if I can find it, there are 3 key questions that he asks. Sorry, Teen, you're going to have to cut this part out because I wasn't prepared. Those 3 questions that a doctor, a patient, and the patient's loved ones should consider in this process. What are your biggest fears and concerns as you age? What goals at any given point are most important to you? And what trade-offs or sacrifices are you willing to make, and which ones you are not? So those 3 questions will drive the kind of treatment options that you might choose to participate in as a patient, or to at least talk about with a loved one. Because medical doctors in general are trained to give you medical options. If I get diagnosed with cancer, the first thing probably out of their mouth is, you have cancer, Here's what we can do about it. And there's some unbelievable technology. There's some unbelievable ways that our lives have been extended, and those are all great things. I'm not here to suggest that they're not. I'm here to suggest that sometimes we have to process through which ones we might want to participate in, which ones we might not participate in, because we want to maintain a quality of life even though it might be shorter in length. Okay, so always remember, what are you afraid of? What goals are most important to you, and what trade-offs are you willing to make? Best example I can give is a gentleman that was in the book who had some type of tumor or something to that capacity. If they did nothing about it, the amount of time to potentially live was short term, 3 to 6 months. But if they did surgery, that life would have been extended most likely to 2, 3, 4 years, but it came with a cost. And that cost was that that person would likely be paralyzed and unable to really care for themselves very well. I'm pretty sure it was even quadriplegic. So instead of just defaulting to that or not defaulting to that, those 3 questions drove the decision that was ultimately made, because it was a very personal, value-driven decision. So this gentleman asked the doctor, well, what would my life look like if I do the surgery and I become quadriplegic, which is highly likely, not 100%, but probably 80 to 90%. Would I be able to be in a bed? Would I be able to be propped up to watch TV, which I love sports, and just all different kinds of sports? And would I be able to, somebody help me eat ice cream? And the doctor said, is that what's important to you? And he said, well, of course that's what's important to me moment by moment, but I also would love to have, if that's my life and I'm able to see my grandkids for a couple more years, then I can deal with staying in a bed and watching TV until my grandkids get there, and then they can be around me. Now see, that's a very personal decision, because I might not make that same decision. I'm not sure I want to be bedridden and dependent on other people's care. I might, at that moment I might, but what's important is that they talked about it. And they talked about a person's values, and they talked about what are the chances of this, and what's important to you, what are you willing to sacrifice, and what are you not willing to sacrifice. And that discussion is between the patient and the doctor, the patient and the loved ones and the doctor. It's just an ongoing conversation, and it will change and be organic and vary from different points in your life. I might feel differently at 63 as opposed to if I'm 93. Those choices will be significantly different. So the book really, in my opinion, speaks to me, because we live in a world where you get diagnosed with something in many cases, and in many cases there are medical procedures to solve that problem, and that's what doctors are trained to do. So you have cancer, here's this radiation, here's this chemo, here's this surgery, and those are all well and good. It's great that we have that technology and we have that medical capacity to do that, but we need to pause and ask deeper questions as to what quality of life looks like for that person. Are you willing to go through 2 years of chemotherapy to extend your life by a year? Some people would say yes, some people would say no. I would like to live 6 months of the highest quality life, but I'm okay with that. So that's what speaks to me. That's why it's important for you to read it various times. It's important for your loved ones to be on the right page with you and the same page with you. And it's important to find a doctor that's willing to have those kinds of conversations as opposed to just giving you solutions. Okay, that's what I learned. And I hope that you read that book as well, and just keep it on your shelf and continue to read it off and on as you progress through life, just like me. Hey, here's the drill. First off, we thank you guys for subscribing. We thank you for commenting. We thank you for liking this video and giving it a thumbs up. And we look forward to more videos. I'm not sure how much you'll see me, but I'll peek and squeeze in there sometimes when I get a little bribe from Little T. But in the meantime, go out and make it a great day, and we will see you next week.